Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. So let me start off by saying that I've been trying to record this video for the last 2 days, and every time I do, I either end up experiencing a technical glitch, no audio, something or the other keeps happening. So I think yesterday I just said, you know what, I think I need to take a pause and see if I could try this again today, and hopefully this time is a charm and I can actually put this one out. So today I actually wanted to do a little video on two of my personal toughest challenges that I actually experienced after my Kundalini Awakening. This may be relevant as well to those that have had a spontaneous awakening, gone straight into your dark night of the soul versus an actual Kundalini Awakening. So, if that is you, definitely listen to the message and see if there's any, resonance for you there that may be applicable and helpful on your journey. Now, the first challenge that I really experienced on my journey after my Kundalini Awakening was that I started to feel like I really needed to balance out my energy. Now, the one thing that I can share and, just have known for a very long time is from a very young age, I was heavily using my masculine energy. Simply because I became a provider at a very young age for my family. And then that pattern kind of also continued after my divorce. And so I was predominantly using my masculine energy to get things done, be on the go. And for those that may not know, your masculine energy is, really keeps you in your logical mind, keeps you from, really in the 3D, working on your more of a protector role versus a nurturer role, which is more of the feminine energy. And so really that is how I was operating, no doubt about it. And what the Kundalini energy as it rises through your chakra system is trying to do is really get you to balance out those two energies. Now, it's fair to say that all of us at different points in time will need to kind of toggle between our two energies depending on the task that we have. However, if ever we're using one more than the other, then we're kind of out of our natural balance. However, when you are having a Kundalini awakening, that balance is really important, because if you have a higher calling, you need to shift your more feminine energy to be able to create. So to go into creator mode, you need to be more inward focused. You need to be in a natural state of flow to be able to create that which is aligned with your higher calling. So being just in that logical mind, go, 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 trying to accomplish things is not helpful. And so, Kundalini as it rises will do whatever it needs to do to get you to balance those energies out. Now, I've shared this in the past, and I'll kind of mention it here again, is that when I was, working at my career that I really loved, I came across a point where I was starting to lose interest. This happened well before my Kundalini awakening. However, after my Kundalini awakening, I started to literally feel like my energetic state had slowed down so much. I could not keep up with the hustle and bustle that was happening at work. It was almost as if my system was starting to slow down, let me know that I needed to take a pause. And literally, I think what I felt like was like this little mouse running on this really fast treadmill, trying to catch up. And I just couldn't, until I realized that if I don't stop, I am going to have literally like a nervous breakdown, and I need to be able to take a little pause. And, sure enough, it was that I decided to take a little pause, stopped working, and I literally fell sick for about 6 to 8 weeks and went straight into my dark night of the soul phase with sickness, with massive purges, like I can't even explain. And it was just all coming at me at once. Nevertheless, the sickness was not the challenge. The dark night of the soul was not the challenge. My biggest challenge came when Dark Night of the Soul was ending. It was very hard for me to now understand how to operate in life. For somebody who was predominantly working from their go, 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 shifting gears very quickly from that masculine to feminine phase of, okay, now be in a natural state of flow, don't work as hard. I was so appreciative from the time off, but at the same time, I cannot tell you that I felt like I didn't know how I could function. Not having that immediate rush every day of things to accomplish felt really weird, even though I was just recuperating from so much. It just felt like I was in a totally new zone of how to function. So really getting that drive back while I'm in this state of new feminine energy was very challenging for me. However, this is not something that can't be overcome. You just need to look for new strategies of how you're going to accomplish this. So for me, how I actually overcame this challenge was really just starting to restructure my day again to see how I could accomplish what I needed to accomplish, but really honoring that little pause that the universe was trying to give me. That time, that space that I need to now operate from, knowing that I don't need to almost tie my sense of self-worth to productivity, I think is probably the best way to put it. And really being able to enjoy that natural flow of time in my space and calendar. And so what I started to do was, okay, I do need some structure, and how do I go about doing that? So, it's going to be different for everybody how you want to do that. But for me, it was literally putting myself on schedule. Even though prior to my Kundalini awakening, I was very, operating from my logical mind. I never really needed a schedule. I was very much everything in my head, able to accomplish everything from my logical mind. And now it was like, okay, I'm going to need some structure. How do I bring in that structure back in? So it was great to be able to see that, yes, I do still need both of those energies. I want to stay in my feminine energy, but how do I ensure that I'm still able to tap into my masculine energy when I need it? Was kind of what I had to relearn. And really just understanding that you need to be in a state of balance as you move forward. If you find yourself going back to your old ways of doing things, take a pause, because you understand that you are being guided and protected on your journey. And if you don't do what you're being asked to do, Kundalini energy as well as the divine will find ways to put you in check. So definitely honor what you're feeling and what you're being asked to do, and make sure that you kind of apply it on your journey. Now, the second challenge that I want to talk about that I really found myself kind of struggling with after my Kundalini awakening, especially after my Dark Night of the Soul phase, was really trusting how to build a new identity. So knowing that I now need to do something completely different with my life, and I needed to operate in a whole new way because I had experienced this reset button on life. I had a hard time understanding how I need to actually move forward, and whether or not the decision that I'm making is correct. Now, remember that before your Kundalini awakening, before your Dark Night of the Soul, you had a very strong internal GPS in terms of the identity. What kind of a personality you are, the decisions you make, how you make them, why you make them. And now when you experience this almost reset, you kind of forget how you're supposed to be navigating out onto this path. And so for that, I would say, really lean in on your intuition. And that's what you're really being called to do, is no longer looking at your 3D world and saying, how would I normally do this? Because there is no new normal anymore. You are now being asked to really lean inward and make decisions from a place of you're guided, you're protected, and you have a clear slate of being able to step out and make a new world for yourself, a new life, that really aligns with your inner self. The best way that I think I want to describe this is, prior to your awakening, you may have seen life in a very black and white way. Think of it as going down a particular bridge, and it's the same bridge that you kind of know and walk down over and over. You know the color of this bridge, you know the length of this bridge, you know what views you can catch from this bridge, you know how long it takes you to cross the other side, who you're going to meet possibly at what time of the day when you cross this bridge. And that's how you navigate life. You have this very knowing way of going about life and the things that you do. Now, post your Kundalini awakening or spontaneous awakening, you will find that that bridge just disappears. And I think, for me, the hardest lesson was just understanding that that bridge is still there, but it's almost invisible. And now it's me taking a step at a time, and each time I do, the next slat will magically appear, knowing that you will be met by the divine as you take that leap of faith. So, it's a little different, but nevertheless, the bridge is still there. So really how I overcame this particular challenge was testing it out, literally testing it out. I started to get a whole lot of signs that I could follow that were showing up in my world as I was going through this. And a couple of times I had to really I doubted myself, like, is that sign really for me? I doubted it the first time, doubted it the second time. And then the third time it was like, okay, just going to follow through and see what happens. And as I did that, I was met with, good outcomes. And so I knew to trust it. So really, I would say if that's happening to you, trust it, follow through with what your intuition is telling you. And the only way to know is by getting through. And so as you take that step, just understand that that slat will show up and that bridge will build itself and you will have a positive outcome. It's really leaning in on trust. This new path and new life for you is based on trust and faith in the divine and your ability to be successful no matter what. Crossing my fingers that this video really makes it out this time. Nevertheless, thank you so much for listening. I hope this was helpful. God bless.